New Thought Media Network proudly presents the High Vibe Hour. The High Vibe Hour, 60 minutes of connections, insights, and conversations to raise your vibe. Join Rev Julie and Rev Skip each week for an exploration of living a high vibe life. Tune in live every Friday at 11 a.m. Mountain Time or anytime during the week on our YouTube channel. The High Vibe Hour, only on New Thought Media Network.
Hey!
Hey! Hey!
Welcome to the High Vibe Hour. I'm so grateful to have all of you jump in and join us today. I am Reverend Julie Moret. I am an inspirational speaker and spiritual teacher at the Agape International Spiritual Center, founded and directed by Reverend Michael Bernard Beckwith. Who are you?
I am Reverend Skip Jennings, and I am here in North Hollywood Center for Spiritual Living, which we're actually changing our name now, is going to be the North Hollywood Oneness Center for Spiritual Living. So we're removing that church thing.
Love it.
And yeah, so I am a teacher, a spiritual seeker. I feel more of a student today. So I'm going to say I'm a student of truth, because I am feeling in such a way that I need a little bit more truth. What are you drinking today? That's not tea.
I got so much going on. So I just got back from a breakfast and celebration honoring the life and legacy of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., which we'll talk about in a minute. But I'm like, so this is my protein shake with my aminos in it. This is a wellness, there's this shaman that I work with, and he blends up stuff. I have no idea what is in this. It tastes horrendous, and I love drinking it because I just know it's filled with all kinds of things. And this world we're living in, it's like everything is up all at once, is what it feels like to me. And so when that happens, I know that sometimes I feel like a live wire in the world. Like I feel like I absorb a lot. So I know to start drinking immune boosting teas and really take care of myself. And before we get too deep, I just have to say, like, I'm in this really nice dress for the thing that I just came from, and I'm so uncomfortable because normally I have sweatpants on with like a nice shirt when we do this. So I love that. Moving around because I'm so comfortable, but I'm so grateful to be here.
Yeah, I'm grateful to be here too. What has your week been like? Anything fun and anything interesting happened this week?
So the week has been like really rich and really deep and really intense. We're seeing a lot of footage on the news. And, the topic today is, what is your role in the revolution? And by the way, you could pick your revolution. Like there are so many different things happening in the world that, some things may really trigger one person. Like I get super triggered seeing somebody being pulled out of their car. Like that's just a huge, like, absolutely not in my book. I get triggered seeing somebody just being shot, like point blank. Like I get very triggered about some things. I get like triggered and inspired by what I'm seeing happening in Iran. Like, and I ask myself, would I be that brave? Like, could I be that brave, especially as a woman? Like, would I, or even not just as a woman, but I think of things, ways that women can be harmed, but I guess anybody can be harmed. So I'm just like, wow, could I be that brave? And I do at some point want to share something. Our friend who is Iranian, Reverend Narges Mozaffari, sent me a letter from somebody inside Iran that was sent to somebody outside. And at some point, I'd love to read that. So
it's been a crazy week.
I helped to facilitate the practitioner meeting for Agape, which is practitioners are the sacred ecclesiastical order of the Agape International Spiritual Center. And so lots of feelings around like everything that brought up. And it was renewing, beautiful. And Reverend Victoria Thomas was like, is that else? Am I just like skitzing Reverend Victoria? Yeah.
Reverend Victoria Thomas.
She just went on a rant, like reminding us that what do? We pray, and that prayer works. And it was such a like, if you feel overwhelmed and I don't know what to do, pray. Pray with everything you've got. Prayer removes mountains. So so
Yeah, and
it's been a week.
we will definitely talk about that later on. And because I'm in a place where I've been praying, and there's a lot of new thoughters who've been praying, and they're feeling okay. This is helping some more. So we pray and pray and pray. But I don't want to get too deep into that. I want to just say that I started a new yoga class, a meditation yin yoga class at Equinox. First week we had 26 people. Last week we had 31 people. And these individuals are looking for the answer. And it was so incredibly inspiring to be in a place that Equinox is really known for. And hey, Diego, we see you and we love you and thank you for your support. We to be in working for a company that's really very much surface oriented, to bring into deep meditation and yin and in their studios, and people are really wanting more of that, was inspiring, especially during this time. So it's been a very interesting week here and kind of
Wait, I
crazy.
want to say something about yin yoga. Yin yoga is my favorite in the whole world.
Is it really?
I call it roly-poly yoga.
Why do you call it roly-poly yoga?
Because I like to lay on the ground like this, and then you lay like
Yeah,
this, lay like this, and just so slow and sweet. And what an arc I have had in the world of yoga, because I came from was it Steve Ross and what's the guy that did the power
Steve Ross.
yoga?
He's a friend of mine, Steve Ross.
Brian Kest, I think.
Brian Kest, and then there was
Power
Steven, yeah.
yoga and
Move.
intense, aggressive hours every day. And I gotta tell you, I love yin yoga. My favorite in the whole world.
I do too. It gives us permission to really slow down. I mean, yoga, we can invent, because I teach vinyasa as well on a Tuesday. And then they've asked me to add in a late Monday night, not late, but 8 o'clock in the evening to 9 o'clock to help people to go to sleep. But the yin yoga for me has really shifted me into becoming more of a meditation teacher, to really hone my tools in meditation, because yin is meditation. Yeah. So the great thing I've learned about myself, what I love to do, is I'm creating my own kind of, not my own, but my own philosophy around yin, is that we begin with the body. Let's shift into the physical so we can hold the pose. Let's touch into the mental. What are we thinking with our minds as we're going to the pose? Some people can use your mind to empower the pose or to hinder the pose. And then what are you feeling spiritually, energetic? So I've been really working on that, honing the tools for that. And it's been incredible. It's been really incredible. I've also realized something. I've been drinking a lot of black tea this week, and I've been feeling black tea is different than green tea. And black tea has a edge to it. It's a little bit more. Green tea is really soothing. Yeah, soothing energy. It's like when I drink the jasmine tea, I feel really good. The black tea has a real different effect on me. So I'm realizing part of what I'm feeling this week might be coming from the black tea I've been drinking a lot of.
That's what I was just thinking, because we were talking before, and you were telling me you had a lot really coming up. And I think for me, black tea, some of that agitation happens for me with black tea. So I'd be so curious to see what happens when you start to shift it over and get back to that smooth green tea. That smooth green tea.
Oh my goodness.
I'm glad you're here. I'm so glad you're here. Yeah, and that yin yoga is great for calming the nervous system. So that's even like part of the antidote to this moment. So we can even be clear about what our role in the revolution is. We got to get into a brain state where we can think effectively, and that yin yoga is part of it.
Yeah, I have my from my t-shirt line. Actually, I'm having it redone, the whole entire store now. And this is my fists. You see the fists of transformation. And there are 5 Ds in a transformation: your drive, or your reasoning, what's driving you for a transformation. And sometimes you say the pain pushes until the vision pulls. So it could be the vision. your drive, your dedication, because I really believe that we're called to stay in this and to be dedicated into this experience of what's happening. And I also believe that it requires discipline. And what is the discipline? I believe the discipline is the prayer, the meditation, getting out, standing up for right action. Sometimes people call to be on the streets. And then the direction. What is the direction that we're going and where are we coming from? And then the
Right.
last one is let's see, drive, dedication, determination, discipline, and direction. And we keep moving in that direction. And part of this rise up, and these the words there in the t-shirt, part of this uprising, I I'm feeling that we're calling to find direction. Because right now I'm seeing a lot of chaos, which there is God in chaos is in God, and God is in chaos. There is a divine order to all this. I truly, truly, truly believe this. Yet I'm seeing it as a lot of chaos. And that's kind of been the week this week of watching everything happening, unfolding in turbo time. It feels like it's turbo.
Right. You know what I really like about this combination of us getting together is that my week has been a week of people coming together and
Mhm.
like kind of the opposite side of that. Like I just left this breakfast honoring it was the Santa Monica Interfaith Council and it was
And how was
packed.
that? Was it
And
packed?
yeah, and you know what so there was an East Indian from Self-Realization Fellowship doing an opening meditation. There was Gerald
Rivers.
Rivers,
Gerald Rivers,
right?
yeah.
He brought in Dr. King. There were Jewish people, there were Native American people, there was people from all different kinds of churches. And so I was just immersed in the possibility of us humans. I was just immersed, Ricky Byers bringing that
Yeah.
soundtrack and I just Rashid Lani, and so I just got so drenched in the possibility of us humans.
Mhm.
And so that's the common consciousness that I'm really bringing in to our time together today is that
Mhm.
when we see all these uprisings and challenges, and I've spoken a lot with Narges, who's Iranian, and she's talking about like the extreme tragedies that are happening for people standing up for their rights. And at the same time, the massive progress that's happening. Like they
Yeah.
are on the cusp of like this is it. And can I just read this
Oh,
text?
absolutely, please. Oh
Okay,
my God.
so
Yeah,
this
thank you.
this message came from somebody that's inside Iran, and their internet has been cut off. I think it's 7 or 8 days now. So
Mhm.
even our guest has not been in touch with her family, right?
Mhm.
And this is what somebody finally got this message to the outside world, and it said, "Greetings, Brother Khan. With great difficulty, I managed to get temporary access to the internet. Here it is truly like the end of days. For us, it smells like victory. For them, it smells like the stench of being overthrown, and they know it themselves. I say
Mm.
this without exaggeration. It's what I've seen with my own eyes. The videos that you are seeing out there in the world, even the ones that manage to come out, maybe show at best 20% of the reality. It's simply impossible to show the entire crowd. The crowds are in the millions. The crowds are in the millions and astonishingly coordinated. I wanted to make sure I share that. It may look like chaos to us, but he says astonishingly coordinated. This morning, I went to the grocery store to buy a couple of things, and I asked the grocer how long they would be open. And they said, "We're staying open." Like it would be disrespectful to those marching and to those, out there standing up for their rights if we closed. Here, everyone is talking about the return of the Shah. Everyone is overflowing with energy ever since it was said that he is preparing for a return to Iran. People's energy has increased 100-fold. No one says if it happens anymore. Everyone knows it's over for the regime, and the people are fighting with every single thing they've got to make it happen sooner. The people are united as if they have been practicing this, what's happened over the last several days, as if they've been practicing it for 30 years. Like everybody is ready. If it were possible to show everything in the history of the world, not just Iran, we would, by a wide margin, be witnessing the most magnificent revolution in history. I swear on this land that I am not exaggerating. Tell the people abroad, this is what I want to make sure we hear. Tell the people abroad that we have seen your gatherings and we're proud of you. Tell them we kiss your hands. Tell them we know your hearts are with us and know that our hearts are with you as well. Let everyone know that the great work you're doing is no less than the battlefield that we are on here. A revolution is a team project, and each of us must carry out our duties properly. Without you, we won't win. So hold your heads high and keep going. And then it actually continues on from there. I wanted to make sure that I say, sometimes I feel when I hear what's happening in the world, like,
Yeah.
oh, what does one voice matter? They're feeling it. There are people marching in the multitudes in Iran, and they see the images of us. And even if we're sharing something on social media, so your prayers matter, our consciousness
Absolutely.
matters, our social sharing matters. And so I'm really rooted in the possibility of us
Mm.
humans, especially as something very old and dark is shattering and breaking away.
I believe there is this ongoing energy, and I believe this is what we're seeing in Minnesota right now. This is where we're seeing parts in America. People are really beginning to feel this onsurge of this uprising. We had it here in LA for a bit. And when we see senseless killings by our own regime here, because
Yeah.
be not mistaken, we are under a dictatorship. This is how dictators work. And we're fighting for democracy. I truly, truly, truly believe that this is an energetic flow, not just from Iran, but all over the world. I
Right.
believe that this energy is starting to rise up. And my question, I think, not even question, that I've been saying, asking God, in this heavy time. And I shared with you earlier, I did that. I went into the rabbit hole of what was going on YouTube. Not a good place to be, but you got to be informed. And now you do the work to lift our frequency to do what we need to do to rise up. We had a healing circle on Wednesday night. Wednesday night was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. People crying, people praying, people understanding that we're seeing this together in real time, and we're feeling it together in God time. So being able to create a circle where people could just share, and we're going to carry this on a Wednesday night. Myself, and Jamie Lula. If you do not know Jamie Lula, he's one of the greatest New Thought music ministers out there, songwriters. And we do a healing service on a Wednesday night. We're getting in a circle, and we are gathering, and we are to lift the frequency so that we may step out and to do the work that we're called to do, because we have work to do.
We absolutely do. I'm just checking out some of the messages that came in,
Mm.
and I feel so grateful that we can gather. I feel like our consciousness together, feeling everybody kind of pouring in. Astrophysicists say if you wave your hand in one place, it has ripple effects that extend to the farthest star. So when we gather with the intention of being harmony and unity and being a stand for peace on earth, I'm grateful for how that ripples out into the world and people feel it. It gets felt. And I'm so mindful of how important it is that we kind of anchor sanity. Like we really anchor sanity. It's easy to get swept up in the insanity that's happening. And I shared this, I think I shared this here last week, that one of the congregants at Agape, who I love dearly,
Mhm.
rolled up on an ICE facility, and there were ICE officers outside, and this person was screaming at the top of their lungs and cursing them out. And like, I understand the rage. I
Yeah,
really do.
I was going to ask you that. Do you
I want
understand? Yeah,
I want them to stay alive. I
yeah.
want them to be safe. And so mostly my intention with our time gathering is to have a place to say like, oh, this doesn't feel good. Oh, this is so not okay. This is insane. And also like, hello, how is this okay for other people? Like, I don't even understand. Forget your political party. Like, I think Van Jones was saying, like, nobody should be okay, regardless of
Right.
your political party, with some of the things happening.
Exactly.
Like, like,
Exactly.
so that's really like a growing edge for me, because Achille Beckwith said, no, let no person be outside the walls of your heart. And I'm like, deep breath. Okay, really? But for real?
Yeah,
Let
but for
no
real.
person. But that's where the healing happens. It doesn't happen if we just stay clustered amongst ourselves. We got to figure out, how do I love everybody? How do I have space to hold everybody? Whatever, I don't know. Are there wounds that happened in childhood that caused somebody to grow up and feel so insecure that they need to be a
Yeah.
bully? I don't know what it is, but can my love be so big that it
Yes.
loves us into wholeness, you know?
And I think too, what Van Jones was saying, we all have to say it's not right. And as metaphysicians and as new thoughters and people who are in this world that we know spiritually that it's all in God, but yet externally and the things that we're really feeling, we're not really taking the approach. We got to feel it so we can deal with it and heal through it. I believe that saying, and this is why possibly I can't speak for the person that was doing our agape sister who was doing the rolling up on ice. I can't speak, but I understand too, if we don't have a time to have a conversation like this, to say, I'm feeling this, I don't know what to do. I believe if we don't speak about it, it's going to explode like a volcano. And I'm seeing more and more people who are reactionary than interactionary. And I'm trying to be more interactionary, and yet there is this reactionary experience. I am feeling anger. I'm feeling disappointed. I feel unsafe as a Black man in America. I feel very unsafe right now. And I know this is my feeling, but if I don't say it, and I don't say it to allies and people I know who really love me and care for me, I will carry this internally, and I will feel like I'm dying from internally. I believe this is why our healing circles are so important, that people who are not ministers and practitioners, we're all human
Mhm.
members. We got to get together and have this conversation so that we can rise up together and go and make a difference upon this planet. This is why we have to be able to talk about this and not do what we call spiritual bypass.
Right, right. I'm really appreciating that. And so, yeah, to have a safe outlet, it's like a good therapy session where you
Safe,
say all the
yeah,
things. But then we
yes,
can't leave it there. We have
no,
to turn it into something that lets us remember truth, stand in truth in such an unwavering way. Like you were sharing with me right before this, Michael Bernard Beckwith says you can't shift with force, you shift with frequency.
right.
And what I wanted to say about that is sometimes it seems like there are shiftings happening in the world by force. Even in my own upbringing, there were things I was forced. There were ways that I didn't have, like, I didn't feel like I was powerful growing up in a lot of ways.
Mm,
But it never, you people, whoever is in authority, whoever the bigger dog is, can force an outcome, but it's temporary, it's never lasting, and it never gets the respect. So that's why, like, you could take over a country or you could take over whatever, but in the karmic unfolding of life, 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 it never works. You never gain respect. You never gain, like, all the things that really matter. And so, I, in this moment, I have a lot of powerlessness feelings. Like when I see, force happening, and the bigger dog acting all bigger dog. And
and they're being rewarded for a peace, a Nobel Peace Prize or whatever. I'm not going to name names, but sometimes we will. People who are causing war, there are other people who want to give them a Nobel Peace Prize. This does not make sense to me on the human level. On the
right, that's
spiritual
how
level,
we
I
can
do
get
know,
distracted. Like
right?
that stuff can be so distracting. It's
So
why
distracting, yeah.
I loved in this practitioner meeting, like we're all talking, and then Reverend Victoria Thomas got on and she just went on a rant. She was like, what do? We pray, and prayer works. Like it moves mountains. It enhances our energetic frequency. And when you
Yep.
raise your frequency, you cause things to shift. And so what I must stand for right now is how much can we keep rooting in? And in the second half of this hour, I want to get into some practice to remember what is true. Because, all the reaction, like all the hairs are up, and there is an illusion that seems very real. External circumstances would appear like, oh, things are going to hell in a handbasket.
Yeah.
But God is still at hand, truth is still at hand, and we get to really build up and flex our spiritual muscles in such a profound way. The universe has to shift on its axis. That people have to be free because we're declaring it so. That we get freedom,
And
that we get right action, that we get justice. That's
yeah,
what we
absolutely.
can do, and that's what we get to do, and that's what we must do, I believe.
Yeah, and I will give a little bit of the not history, but information about spiritual activism. I have a whole list of people who have stepped into spiritual. Martin Luther King was spiritual activism. We'll talk about Thich Nhat Hanh, Desmond Tutu, the indigenous water people. These are the Protect the Waters. These are all people. Gandhi, Mother Teresa. They all came from the same space that we've targeted, or we have now named as spiritual activism. And there's some core concepts. I think there's 6 of them, core concepts that we can know. Are we really moving into spiritual activism? And in this space, the first thing it says, it comes from prayer and meditation. That's your first step. And then whatever else we do comes from prayer and meditation.
Yeah. And I feel like there's a piece in there about non-attachment. I
Yeah.
feel like there's there's something that happens when you can move into such clarity, like pristine clarity of what I am a stand for, what I know for sure, that even as all those people you just mentioned, even if it meant the taking of the physical body, the conviction to be such a
Mm,
complete stand for truth, it's like the only thing that matters. It
mhm.
prevails everything. And so I feel like I want to layer in the piece about non-attachment. It doesn't mean you let go of love for the people that we love or the things that we love. It means releasing that attachment, that it
And I,
has to be a certain way.
yeah, that's the point. The attachment is not having connection to what we want to see, but the outcome of it is not up to us, because we don't
Yeah.
know what the outcome. So some of us have an idea, oh, peace everywhere and nobody's fighting. Well, that's, if you're attached to that, we probably won't see that. But I also know that there is peace active in certain ways that we are not seeing because we're attached to how it should be. And the Buddha teaches that attachment creates suffering. Because we're attached to a certain outcome, we're going to suffer because it's not showing up the way we want. So I really believe that this is a really amazing, deep conversation that we're having. Can we go for a break, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about
Yes.
some
Yeah,
conversations
I
on
want to share
spiritual
a little bit
activism?
more about non-attachment when we come back, okay?
Yeah,
I'm so
absolutely, for
grateful for
sure.
everybody's on. Your presence matters. I like feeling
Yes,
the embrace of us right now.
it
See you
does
soon.
indeed. We'll be right back.
Are you passionate about media, storytelling, and making a difference? Welcome to New Thought Media Network, where your voice matters. We amplify diverse voices and share impactful stories. Join us in our mission. We are a nonprofit organization dedicated to creativity and community, looking for enthusiastic volunteers who want to be part of something bigger. Learn, grow, and collaborate in various aspects of media production. Incredible support and camaraderie await you here. Your contributions will help us create powerful content that resonates with audiences and drives social change.
Ready to make a difference? Visit our website www.ntmedia.org to learn more about volunteer opportunities and how you can get involved.
Find our volunteer inquiry under the Engage tab on our website, or visit www.ntmedia.org/volunteer.
Thought Media Network proudly presents the Science of Mind Saturday Conversations. Learn more about the Science of Mind philosophy, faith, and way of life. Join our team of experts for a weekly deep dive discussion. Come study the science of mind, chapter by chapter, and resources from the Science of Mind archives. Plan to join us every Saturday, 9 a.m. Mountain Time.
New Thought Media Network proudly presents the High Vibe Hour. The High Vibe Hour, 60 minutes of connections, insights, and conversations to raise your vibe. Join Rev Julie and Rev Skip each week for an exploration of living a high vibe life. Tune in live every Friday at 11 a.m. Mountain Time or anytime during the week on our YouTube channel. The High Vibe Hour, only on New Thought Media Network.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. Welcome back. This is the New Thought Media Network, and we are the High Vibe Hour. We're having a great conversation on this uprising, this revolution that we are all a part of, even if we want to be or not. It's global experience. We're all feeling this as a collective. And I know I was laughing on the commercial going, I am feeling better just by talking about it. So this is our practitioner sessions on steroids here at the High Vibe Hour. We love it. So
yeah. And then the question is what's your role in the revolution? And as we've said earlier, you could pick your revolution. There are so many things happening in the world. There are things happening all around the world. There are things happening in the United States. There might be things happening in your own life, in your own family. What is your role in the revolution? And we're going to get to that in a minute. I wanted to share a bit more about the idea of non-attachment, because sometimes I think I know what the outcome of something should be. But when I anchor into my trust, then maybe there's something happening that is of purpose. Maybe some of what I'm seeing is so needed in the breaking away of an old paradigm to allow something new to really birth itself. And at the same time, if you are called to take an action, then that's part of it as well. It's, I guess, the non-attachment to how things are supposed to look. And I had the experience, I think I've only really sincerely felt non-attachment, complete non-attachment once in my life. My son was 6 years old. I went to the doctor for a checkup, and the doctor saw something that he was concerned about. So I took some tests, and it was going to be 5 days before I got the test results. And during that time, man, I was so attached. I was walking through my neighborhood, I was just ugly cry, just out loud. I didn't care who saw me, just begging God, beseeching, I have to be okay. You can't take me out. I have a young child to raise, right? And test results came in, they were inconclusive. So I had another 5 days walking around, begging, beseeching. And on the 9th day, so I was going to get the test results the next day. On the 9th day, something lifted out of me. And I felt this pristine peace. And in that moment, I knew that all is well. And I knew that all would continue to be well, even if my body was not. Can you imagine? Even as a parent, if I weren't going to be around to raise my child, I felt that river of consciousness. I felt the ongoingness of humanity. I felt the perfection of all that we are. And so I wanted to layer in a little bit of grace here, a little bit of really building up that muscle of trusting life and trusting God and still doing what you are called to do and be. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. You're giving the definition of faith. Faith is, we can hope for something to happen, but what is our confidence? Our confidence and trust is into the divine that is co-creating with us. That is the law of working everything out, but it is the definition of faith. And, I love the idea. It says faith is the confidence in something, unseen, which is meaning, there's always this idea in this conversation I've been hearing. Can we really see God? Can we really see God, or can we really experience God? And the truth is, for me, I see God in action all the time. I see qualities of God showing up, but God itself is incorporeal. It's invisible, but I trust it. I trust it. And sometimes I'm feeling more trusting than others. Sometimes I'm feeling like, okay, God,
Yeah.
I know you
Step it
got
up.
this, but like Ernest Holmes says, I'm demanding a demonstration here. Come on now.
Right. You know what this reminds me of? A lot of
Yeah,
times when we take the offering at Agape,
yeah.
Reverend Michael Beckwith will say, like Agape has all the money it needs and it's right there in your wallet. I feel like life, the unit, our humanity has all the solutions. It
Mm,
has all the skills. It has all the resources. It has everything we need, and it's in our pockets. It's us.
right.
It's us doing what we're called to do. But the key piece there is we can only be who we're truly meant to be when we are in, I do it in psychology terms, when our
Mm,
survival reactivity is soothed out, when our emotions
mhm.
are well regulated, because that allows us to pop into a clear thinking, executive, solution oriented brain state.
Yeah.
That's what happens when people are in your yin yoga class. It allows us. And I was even thinking during the break, because there's a lot of music going on, and I was thinking about how, the music that I just heard with Rashid Lani and Ricky Byers
Mhm.
at the Dr. King breakfast, like my question is, what works for you? As you're listening in,
Yeah.
it's now more important than ever. Like I told you, I'm drinking my immune tea. Tastes
Mhm.
yicky, but that's what I'm drinking today, because we got to take really good care of ourselves so we can be in an effective brain state. So I just like to take a moment
Yeah.
and have everybody like go through your inventory. What works for you?
Yeah.
Feet on the earth, getting into nature, taking time to breathe, being around friends,
Mm,
talking to somebody. Like, Rev Skip just said, just he was laughing on the break, just thinking that even talking about this stuff, even having
yeah.
a place to
A place to
helps
place to
get
yeah.
some of it out, right? So
Yeah.
that's the invitation right now, is like, what works for you? And
Mm,
man, work it. Like, get it scheduled into your daily day practice schedule.
yeah. So we're going to shift a little bit into what is ours to do. And
Mhm.
before, I know you're going to take us through a process. Before we jump in, I just want to I want to talk about a book that's very important. One of my go-to books about spiritual activism is by Andrew Harvey. Have you heard of it? It's called The Hope, A Guide to Sacred Activism. And part of this is where he outlines, and I'm always on target about this. Okay, I know I want to do something. Am I on target with sacred activism? Some people call it spiritual activism. And he says, here's the core principles of sacred activism. Number one, it's spiritually foundation is grounded in meditation and prayer and mindfulness and other spiritual principles to maintain inner peace. I mean, you don't move until you're moved. And how do you get there first? You got to drop into the meditation and the prayer time and the breathing and the yoga just to center ourselves, because chaos begets more chaos. Inner peace brings on more inner peace. I really love that. So I'm always questioning myself first. Am I from a place of interaction or reactionary? Because we can
Mm.
react all the time and just like boom, 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 boom. But if I go from a place of interaction, am I in a place of prayer and meditation first? So important. The second concept is compassionate action. I know that there are some people that want to just take ice and do what they need to do and want to burn down houses and want to tear up stores. And is that truly a compassionate action? I
Mm.
believe it sometimes it is an outpicturing of what's been bottled up. We talked about this before. I see some things that are happening in Iran that is very tearing down stores and cars and all that, I believe. But, and, because I don't believe in buts except for the ones we're sitting on, and compassionate action is the outcome of what you're doing is to bring compassion for everyone. Compassion is not, compassion has a way of being. Let me just put it this way. I'm really trying to be very, very mindful of what I'm saying. If I'm in a compassionate action, it is filled with love and not destruction. Number 3 is service-oriented mindset. I'm going to put on my walking shoes to be of service to the planet, to create a world that works for everyone? Or am I going just to create chaos? Number 4 is a holistic approach to what we were talking about before. Yoga, prayer, it is meditation. It's actually sitting there and being a place in vigil and praying while other people are stepping out into the world doing their work. It is such a whole inclusive experience. And then the last 2 ones is interconnectedness, and the last one is joyful resistance. These are the 2 that really get me, because interconnectedness means that the work that I'm doing out into the world is going to affect everyone. It is for everyone, even for the people who don't like me because of skin color, because I'm queer, because of my message. I'm working even interconnectedness for all of us. It is all interconnected. So we're all going to make a world that works for all of us. And the joyful resistance. Can I find joy in this practice of standing up for sacred activism? Am I in joy? Am I in anger? And all this is stuff that I get to question within myself about what's going on with what is mine to do. I gotta say, sometimes I'm feeling like I'm getting it, and sometimes I'm feeling, I'm not in number 5. I'm not feeling interconnected. I am not in joy right now, and it doesn't mean that we stop doing what we need to do. We just become more awake and aware of where we are at any time.
Right. There's something that comes to mind for me.
Yeah.
I know it's so easy to focus on the things that we don't like and feel very strongly that we are against what's happening. I like the idea. I find it most effective to focus on what I do desire as opposed to what I do not desire. So, and I'm not talking about a spiritual bypass by any means. Like, when you see something that's not okay, it's not okay. But I'm not going to keep all my energy there. I'm going to keep focusing on what is it that I do desire. I'm going to focus on where there is good. And so I want to layer that in as well. It's like we're being called to do 2 things at once.
Yeah.
We've got to call out crazy when crazy's happening. If something unacceptable, what this reminds me of? It's like stories I've heard during the Holocaust, where it started off, everybody in a Jewish community, they're out and about, they're doing their thing. And then, they're told you need to stay in this part of the village. And so then they're just staying in that part of the village. And then slowly you gotta, you need to wear a thing, but like a star on your arm. And then it just keeps going and keeps going. And so there is like my radar, my antenna are up, and so I feel like it's very important to keep the antenna up and then root so vehemently, so strong, so mightily in what it is that we do desire. So I kept seeing these images of people in Iran, and it was like, focus on all the art that's going to be created, all the beauty that's going to be created, all the, just see the Iranian people free and happy and creative and contributing and joyful. And so I'm really like anchoring my focus there. I'm just knowing it as done already. And so that's something I wanted to offer up, is like to really power up your conviction towards what you do desire as opposed to what you do not.
And simultaneously, it does. And simultaneously, I love that you said that we can also hold the consciousness. My heart is still very heavy from the shooting of Renee Good, and thinking she has 2 kids, and thinking that she literally was trying to stand up for righteousness. and really trying to make a difference in her neighborhood. And that saddens me. It also, I mean, I remember feeling this way with George Floyd. I remember
Oh,
feeling
yeah.
this way with Breonna Taylor. I remember feeling this way with a lot of people who've lost their lives in senseless, violence from authority, which again brings me to the feeling that I'm feeling, just being who I am and what I do and where we live, that simultaneously I can still feel that and know I know what I want. I know I'm focusing on a world that works for everyone, peace. I'm focusing on art coming out of this. I'm actually starting to do more art and doing, I'm going to probably be at a show this summer. So I'm realizing, and I'm creating t-shirts, peaceful t-shirts. I'm seeing what's happening, yet it still feels a little bit interesting right now. I'm going to use that word, as my friend Ricky Byers would say. This is very interesting times. Yes, it is. Very interesting.
Yeah. I think that's a form of your activism, creating your t-shirts.
Yeah,
I think that is.
absolutely. Absolutely. You're
Yeah.
going to take us through a process.
Yeah, let's do something
Yeah,
together.
let's
Let's
do
join
something.
together and let's just take some breaths. I'm going to invite you, if you're not driving or operating equipment, just take some slow, deep breaths.
Mhm.
Breathing in swift through the nose and then exhale slow, slow out through slightly parted lips. Breathing in swift through the nose.
Mhm.
Exhaling out slow, slow through slightly parted lips. And 2 more times on the exhale, let a little sound rumble out, just breaking up any kind of coagulated emotions or stuck energy. Just
Mhm.
And I'd like you to imagine, to see, to sense, to visualize as though you could float out into your life 10 years from now, 20 years from now, to a very peaceful moment.
Mhm.
I'm seeing myself seated underneath a shady tree just 10 or 20 years from now in a very peaceful, calm, lovely moment, someplace in nature, some place in the kind of nature where you feel your absolute best.
Mhm.
And as you imagine, see, sense, visualize, pretend that you are in your favorite place in nature about 10 years or so out from now.
Mhm.
And get a sense, as you think back over the course of your life and your experiences, you remember all the way, all the way, all the way back to that time back in 2026, January 2026. You remember that time so long ago when ICE officers were being directed to pull people out of cars and to arrest them at Walmarts and on street corners and Home Depots and schoolyards. And that time, all those years ago, when people were getting harmed, shot point blank for being so enraged at the show of force. And remember all the way back, all those years ago, when the multitudes risked such, like the risk of everything, to march for freedom and justice in Iran. Think about the people in countries all around the world fighting for their lives. Remember that time way back then. And as you remember yourself as you most ideally desired yourself to have responded.
Mhm.
Just begin to get an image of you, the way that you showed up and the way that you most would have desired yourself to be. Notice how you took care of yourself. Notice how you took care of your nervous system. Notice what was your form of spiritual activism? What was your role in the revolution, and which revolution was yours? Were you having a revolution of psyche? Were you having a revolution of how you will allow yourself to be treated in this lifetime? Were you having a revolution in the role that you'll play in your family or your community or your society? Was there a role that you played in the revolution of how citizens in the United States respond to an overreach in authority? Was there a role that you played in the revolution of people standing up for their freedoms and their justice all around the world, as you remember now, all those years ago, back in January 2026? Get an image as though you could watch a video of yourself being everything that you most desire yourself to have been in that time. The way that you handled yourself, the way you took care of yourself, the way that you stood up for yourself, for the people around you. Notice, what did you do? Where did you go? How did you spend your time? What actions did you take? And as you look back, as you're way out in the future, 10, 20 years out into the future right now, looking back towards now, just get a sense, what did you do that you feel good about? What actions did you take that you feel congruent with? What are the ways that you were a stand for freedom, justice, democracy, right action? And then I'd like you to just watch like a little video of yourself all the way back from that time, and be grateful, and then bring yourself back into that present moment, 10 to 20 years out in the future, in your favorite place in nature. Be grateful that you did well. Be grateful for how you showed up. Be grateful for who you are and who you're committed to being. And we just allow the particles of everything that you've seen. So you could take a snapshot and just allow those particles to seep into every part of your cell, into your very DNA, and let them inform as you begin to move back into this now time. Let them inform what you think, what you say, what you do, that it be wrapped in love, that be wrapped in faith, that it wrapped in trust, that you be who you came here to be, that you embrace your role in the revolution in a way that is responsible, respectable, filled with integrity, right action, in a way that you feel proud of, standing for what you do desire as opposed to what you do not desire. And just gently coming back in with renewal, as though your own mandate has been activated in this moment, and that you move forth knowing who you are needed to be at this time.
Mm.
Just easily coming all the way back in. How was that for you? Did you get a
Beautiful.
sense of
I
what is
did.
yours?
I did, and that's a question that I get to ask and continue to ask. What is mine to do? Because we're here to really step in with authority to do what we're called to do, and not everyone's called to do the same exact thing, and to keep questioning it. And it felt really good to continue to question that and ask, what is mine to do? I think part of this too is I'm grateful that you did the celebration this morning for Martin Luther King. And as we are approaching King's Day on Monday, part of mine to do is to really honor Dr. King, honor his legacy. My family's from Selma, Alabama, which is where the Edmund Pettus Bridge is, the famous march on Bloody Sunday.
I've been there. Yeah.
You've been there. And
I was there with Martin Luther King III last year, just a few months ago,
Well,
actually. Yeah.
Well, I was there. I crossed that bridge many, many times before. My family lives in Selma. And to
Wow.
recognize my aunts and my uncles who marched on that famous march from Selma to Montgomery. My mother helped people in the kitchens. She cooked food. My grandmother cooked food. They helped the marchers. And my grandmother didn't march. My mother didn't march, but they did what they needed to do. My mother was an activist in her school. She went to Alabama State University, and she was one of the students that created leaflets to hand out to let people know there was a boycott going on the bus boycott. Everyone had something to do for a movement that is still very much alive. We are yet to really see the fullness of the civil rights because we're still fighting for civil rights. But everyone did their own part. As my mother's 92 years old this year.
Wow.
Actually,
What a
this year
lineage
she'll
you
be
come from. Oh my gosh.
this year is 93. She'll be 93 this year, and she's powerful woman. My brother was a part of the integrating of schools and in the first Black child to integrate schools in Alexander City, Alabama. My father was part of the minor leagues in baseball to help to integrate minor leagues. He was in the Negro leagues. He went to the minor leagues when they integrated. So everyone has something to do, and I'm just going to leave with this. This is my takeaway because we're closing up. Whatever you choose to do, it is enough. Some people, I need to do more and more and more. No, you don't. You need to really connect with spirit, and that's what is mine to do. So maybe mine is to create a t-shirt or to create a healing circle on Wednesday night or have a talk show here with my friend Julie Moret. That's mine to do. What's your takeaway?
I'm just like basking in the lineage you come from and how powerful it is. My lineage, what is my takeaway from today is to keep showing up and keep getting really still and responding to the call inside of me, like to really listen and show up and just keep listening and showing up. And I've been very vocal about what's happening in Iran. I feel very drawn into that, and just to keep listening and keep showing up.
Can you send me that text, please? I would love to read it in my own personal time. Will you be able to share that with me?
Yeah, I will. I'm also going to post that on my social. So yeah,
Oh, wow.
for sure.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, Shiva, it's always great to feel your presence here. I'm so grateful for you. And thank you to everybody joining and archiving. Yeah, these conversations are what matter. That's my takeaway. These conversations matter.
They matter. They matter. Rev, I know people can find you on Instagram.
Yep, Rev Julie Moret on Instagram. My book, What's Your What? How to Ignite Your Unique Brand. I have it on sale, 50% off. I've never done that before, and it's selling beautifully. So if you want to get a copy for a friend or somebody else, or for yourself, this is a great time to do it, and it's on Amazon.
And we also everyone knows that in the program notes and underneath this video is a link that goes directly to Amazon where you can get the book. It's in there every week in my book as well, and where you can work with me personally one-on-one. This is, you can reach me at Rev Skip Jennings on Instagram, skipjennings.com. And we still have room for 3 more people who want to go to Bali, and it's happening March 14th. Not too late, but there are no more payment plans. So just hit me up on social media or directly to me at revskipjennings@gmail.com. I love these conversations. I love it that it doesn't always have to be the high vibration, but we're learning to lift the vibration, and you're amazing. And thank you so much for having this conversation today. Very well needed.
Yeah, it is. And it's to be continued for sure.
Yes, it is for sure. All right. Peace and blessings, everyone. And remember, transformation is a choice. You chose today. You showed up. Peace.
I get to take my dress off now.
Yes.
Sweatpants.
There you go.